Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
We are broadcasting from the Blue Chew Studios. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code JR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. Hello and welcome to Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. JR, how are you this week? Good to have you back, sir.
I'm well. Glad to be back, quite frankly. Still, I know that the older I get, the longer it takes to recover from jet lag. But I had a great trip. It's fun.
I know you were excited to see a lot of the folks that you used to work with. And so you got to see them all. And how did it go? I mean, just seeing some old friends and old comrades and people that you hired, getting to see all those folks again.
Well, I enjoyed it. You know, you get to catch up, a lot of visiting, a lot of social time. I didn't leave the hotel or except to go to the venue, which was attached to it, which is great. So I stayed pretty grounded, and everybody kind of stayed in a common area, hotel bar type area, restaurant. So I had their fish and chips 3 times, so I guess I liked it.
Must have been pretty good. Well, JR, listen, I'm excited because this week, not only are we going to be talking about Mr. Electricity himself, The Rock. But today's episode, it's actually the 3-year anniversary of the beginning of Grilling JR. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's good. Good. We're building a little brand here. That's what we're trying to do and entertain folks. The audience has been very supportive and keep building, keeps growing. So it's time flies. So you're having a good time. And I've been having a good time with this ever since Conrad and I struck up our deal. Is he still around?
He is. He was in Florida this week conducting some business with the Nature Boy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a picture of them on a boat. Big dogs.
It went everywhere. It was all over social media. They had pictures of the Rolexes, pictures of them on a boat, having a good old time. He's getting some business done there too, and I'm sure all the wrestling fans will hear about that soon enough. But yeah, he's still around. So
good. I'm kidding. He's working hard and trying to continue to help build the ad-free networks, which I get.
Right. Yep.
And you got to have content. Content is king. So Conrad's out there trying to develop more content, and that's good for all of us that are either on the network or supportive of it in another way.
That's right. And speaking of content, it all started May 2nd, 2019, leaving WCW for WWE. Connie was looking for the dirt 3 years ago, and today we're looking for more dirt because that's just what we do. I'm kidding. Actually, no, I'm not. But we're going to be talking about someone, like I said, the star, one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star in professional wrestling, how he was discovered, his first years in the wrestling business, and it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The Rock just turned 50 this past week, Jim. You were just a young pup yourself, JR, 20 years old when that Brahma Bull made his official debut on planet Earth, my friend.
What year was that?
Oh, so 50 years, so 72. Oh, no. Yeah, 72.
Oh, I was 20. Yeah, how old was I? 20. You said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a young kid at that when he was born, but I'm sure glad our paths crossed. It helped everybody involved. I promise you.
JR, when's the name Dwayne Johnson first presented to you? What are your first memories of hearing the name Dwayne Johnson?
Well, Pat Patterson was a great friend of Rocky's grandfather and his dad. So Patterson had his eye. Have been clued in about it when the football ventures didn't succeed for Rock. The pro wrestling was a road that he could take, and which he did, and succeeded amazingly well, as we've discussed. But Patterson was at the forefront of putting Rock's name on the radar. It was my job to go to Florida to meet with him and talk to him and negotiate our first contract.
The narrative's always been, speaking of Pat Patterson, that he and Cornette and countless others, they saw megastar instantly. I know you were the man at the helm meeting with him. Was it megastar at first sight in your mind, Jim?
Oh, yeah. It was a no-brainer. Just a matter of getting it done and getting the contract signed. I paid Rock the highest rookie contract we'd ever done, 6 figures plus. And most of those guys weren't making that kind of money. You pay what the market will bear. And the issue is that we didn't want to take any chances of being silly with the money in as much as with an insulting offer. We weren't going to pay a blue chip guy field hand wages. And so that's kind of where that started. But I had Vince and I was higher on it. I was around Rock a lot. I was in the scouting and evaluating and talking. I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose to losing. And I guess one of the good things happened was that Rock didn't have any money, so he was just looking for some cash and put some food on the table and take care of his family and so forth. So he had not made any money of any degree whatsoever until that time. So we were. It was not a mystery. We were going to sign Rock, and now nobody knew how good he's going to be. I wouldn't say that. We all knew that. Oh yeah, we all knew. Nobody knows for sure, but you think he checks so many boxes, it's going to be hard for him to miss.
Without a doubt. And JR, speaking of megastar, it's time to make sure your lawn is a megastar in your neighborhood. And there's one way to guarantee that, and that's with Sunday. You worried about all the chemicals you're using to keep your yard looking its best? Traditional lawn care lays down 90 million pounds of pesticides each year. JR, Sunday is different. Now you don't have to choose between having a beautiful yard and keeping your family out of harm's way.
Yeah, you got to be smart about what you put in your yard and how it affects your family. And this company is very eco-friendly. I think that's really smart.
Sunday can help you grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork or the nasty chemicals, to JR's point. So Sunday's offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at just $129, and you can get 20% off at checkout when you visit getsunday.com/JR. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/JR. So, Jim, you've talked about it in the past about your first meeting with him. You just shared some thoughts with it, and we all know the $7 story. But what are some of those intangibles that you noticed right away? What were some of those things that you thought, man, this guy does have it? And
well, I don't think I ever met with him that he didn't say, I just came from the gym, or I'm going to the gym, or the gym was always in the conversation. So he was very dedicated to his look, his conditioning, his core strength, all those things that those guys are concerned about. That was always a part of the conversation. If we go to lunch, I guarantee you that morning he's already been to the gym. So he was just very dedicated, and his dad had a lot to do to influence that because, Rocky, the soul man he had a great physique and he worked at it and had great DNA, no doubt about that. And Rock inherited some of that. That's unquestionable. But he was very dedicated about his staying in shape and getting in shape and creating a look that he felt like was marketable.
We're looking back 25 years or so here, but it's interesting because it's almost like The Rock laid the groundwork for future signings of what ends up being really good college athletes that maybe just weren't good enough for the NFL scene. You're seeing that now all the time with the NXT brand and things like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, that's no brainer. These athletes from that world, like The Rock, generally are more durable than bodybuilder types. Not always, but more often than not. So when you get a little boo-boo as an ex-athlete in a pro wrestling and training environment, you know that you have to work through it. And Rock always did that. But all the guys that we signed over the years, always the exception, always this and that, but over the years, the guys that came from an athletic background, generally speaking, had a little bit easier go of it.
JR, knowing what you know now and how they operate NXT, would The Rock have made it out of NXT a similar type path and style, or in the current landscape of how talent is developed compared to going to, say, a Memphis and learning the craft like he did?
Well, there's a lot of philosophies on that. It depends on the individual. It depends on their environment. We felt like at Rock going to Memphis was a decent start. Wasn't totally ideal because it was a brand new little operation down there and a mom and pop deal, to say the least. So I think he always had his head on straight, but I don't know. Rock is gonna thrive wherever he goes, whether it's this camp or that camp or this camp over here. He's gonna walk in the front door and be the star of the show. That's how I looked at it.
Speaking, guys, of developing your craft, Blue Chew can help. You've been hearing about Blue Chew for a while now on our show. We talk about it all the time, JR. If you haven't tried it already, why the hell not? BlueChew.com is helping guys turn their Johnsons into rocks all over the country. You could use that extra confidence in the
Who the hell wrote that?
Do you like it?
No.
Oh, okay. I did. Because of things like stress, anxiety, or age, they can help you too. Blue Chew is an online prescription service. There are no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. You got to sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. That's right. You're going to be game ready. The best part, it's all done online, and you don't have to swallow pills. There's no swallowing, no problems here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. There are all kinds of reasons guys aren't able to perform, JR. Age, medical conditions. For the older guys, it might be stress and anxiety, and for the younger guys as well. JR, I'm sure you've heard of performance anxiety. It's just not in the ring. It happens all the time in the bedroom for guys all across the country.
It's part of our life, part of our makeup, unfortunately or fortunately. It's unfortunate if you don't have a solution. For these issues, Blue Chew is your solution. The bottom line about Blue Chew, ladies and gentlemen, is it works. And that I can attest to on a personal basis. It works just fine. And a lot of my buddies that know that they're a sponsor here and that we've had the Blue Chew studio, et cetera, have jumped on board and trying it. They used our special offer and they find that they get immediate results. It's not guessing game. You get immediate results. And I think that's important. Bottom line, folks, it works. And with our deal, you can't afford not to try it.
Hey, listen, it makes you happy. It makes her happy. It's a win-win. The chewables from BlueChew.com can make sure you're able to perform at your very best every time you get that opportunity to have fun. And here's the special deal for our listeners. As JR said, you try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code JR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. You can't beat it. That's BlueChew.com, promo code JR to receive your first month free. Go to BlueChew.com for more details and safety info. JR, Rocky isn't wrestling long before debuting in a dark match in Corpus Christi, Texas, and a win over the Brooklyn Brawler, Steve Lombardi. JR, any fun memories of the Brawler, Mr. Steve Lombardi himself?
Mr. Versatility, reliable. Brawler was always Johnny on the spot. Worked with a lot of young guys that we wanted to see if they had any aptitude and how fundamentally sound they were. So Brawler was the very valuable guy behind the scenes as much as anybody that you probably haven't we don't talk about it enough. So Steve Lombardi's certainly it was a MVP type player there at WWE, and or we would not have trusted him with so many guys, including The Rock in his Rock's first match.
By the way, cheap plug here for all you ad-free show folks. You know this. We've had Steve Lombardi on before and got to sit down and ask him questions and pick his brain. And oh my, it was an unforgettable experience, to say the least. So we move on. Rocky's put with Chris Candido in a dark match. Just a few days later, it's important to get someone like The Rock in the ring with as many good workers as possible, JR, at this point. And we have the clip of this very first dark match. It's The Rock, and it is Chris Candido, who at the time was Skip. This is from March 11th, 1996. JR, let's take a listen here and check this one out. Here we go.
His opponent from Miami, Florida, weighing in at 272 pounds, Dwayne
JR, he's coming down to a Jimmy Hart song. Listen.
Rock looks good. He's moving like an athlete. Fans are curious. Sonny looked curious.
Sure she did. Here we go. There's no commentary, so you can talk right through this, JR.
Well, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch it. Rock's not going to do anything that he hasn't done in practice. He's not going to try new things out here in this match. At least he shouldn't.
Dr. Tom Pritchard on the outside of Zip.
Yeah.
Who helped train The Rock.
Yeah, Tommy always does a great job in that environment. But Candido was a good, solid hand. He knew he'd be safe. He wouldn't let Rock try things that would be bad. See, this is probably not necessary.
The tope suicida, is that what they call it now, off the top rope?
That's Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the push-up pin from Skip, and it's over.
Skip.
And here comes Sonny. And that's it, JR. He would go ahead and lose that match. Talk about his influence in the early parts of his career. Who were some of those influential guys?
Patterson. Any of the more experienced main event level talents or talents that had worked on main events always were willing to talk to Rock because he's so respectful and willing to listen. He was one of those young guys who didn't mind listening. He realized he didn't know everything, but he wanted you to teach him everything that you knew so you could take that with him down the road. So I bet Patterson was probably the most influential guy there in Rock's career as far as little subtle things, in-ring things, little nuances and things of that nature. And I'm sure there are a lot of other guys, but if you just looked at one person that was always consistent in Rock's formative years, Pat Patterson would be that guy.
Let's talk a little bit about Jerry Lawler and his influence. He did spend some time in Memphis. So can you kind of share any thoughts on Jerry and the time spent down there in Memphis for The Rock?
Well, the Memphis territory was a good idea. It didn't function as well as OVW, and arguably maybe even Les Thatcher's operation there in Cincinnati. But we had Lawler there, and we wanted Lawler to keep tabs and take a good look and keep his hands on Rock. And that's kind of how we worked that deal. Here's the thing. We knew that Rock was not going to be there long. I don't know, a few weeks, I'm thinking, before we started moving him around and getting him getting him with other people that had experience. So, he was just a big bright-eyed kid that just wanted to learn.
JR, were you getting tapes on him, or was it just word of mouth from Jerry?
Oh, we got tapes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got some tapes. We could always see how well he's doing. And I always had somebody down there when they had shows, try to have somebody there that could keep a close eye on him and help him when he needed it.
Well, with Rocky working in Memphis, he's brought to TV occasionally back then, even to getting to wrestle Owen Hart And then on August 24th, there was a fun angle. We have the clip, but with time running out on the live TV show, Flex Kavanah, that's what he was called, challenged Lawler for the title and said he'd leave town if he lost. And with 15 seconds left in the show, Lawler hit Flex with a chain, and as they went off the air, they announced Flex was gone. You had to know at this point he was ready for the main roster. And I'm assuming it's, going off of Jerry the King Lawler's opinion and others, and said, hey, it's time to get him up here at this point.
Yeah, a guy like that, Paul, you never let it get out of your sight. Like Rock, you just continue to help, continue to get him the support that he needs, and really let him run free. He's like a wild stallion. You don't put a bit in their mouth and pull their head back. You let them run, and that's kind of what we did with Rock. We let him run when we could.
There you go. Well, hey, JR, let's check out this angle. I'm telling you, if you're not an ad-free show member, this is a good episode to join up because we have some rare clips that many of you may have never seen before of early days of Rock, and we're going to take a look at this one, that whole angle in Memphis with Lawler.
Flex Kavanah, the match just about to happen.
That's right, Dave. When they told me earlier this week that I was going to wrestle Jerry the King Lawler, I did a little thinking, Dave. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? Week in and week out, whether it's here in the USWA or whether it's Monday Night Raw with the WWF, Jerry Lawler is always running his mouth. Well, I thought about it, Dave, and you know what? If Jerry Lawler says that he's half the man he thinks he is, then he'll give me a title shot. He'll give me a unified world title shot right here Saturday morning on TV, right in front of all the good people of the USWA.
Well, I'd love to have that. I don't know if he'll do it. I mean, this match is signed as a non-title match, so I don't know if he's not always that easy to convince, and I'm sure the promoters would like time to promote the title match and all of that. But it sounds like a wonderful idea if he would agree to it.
There he is.
Right here, the king.
He hadn't changed clothes in 30 years.
We got Flex Kavanah out here trying to play a little mind game with the king. Trying to make a few little witty comments. I understand he spends half his time trying to be witty. That makes him a half-wit, right? Let me tell you something, Flex. I was playing mind games with people like you probably when you were still wearing diapers. So let me tell you, you're not going to be able to get one up on the king and get me to fall for your little trick of putting my title at stake when you got nothing at stake. See, that means I got everything to lose and nothing to gain, right? Am I right or wrong, huh?
That's right.
All right. Hey. So I'll tell you what I will do. I like you, Flex. Good-looking young guy, got a lot of potential. I'd lose the shades, but other than that, I'll do it. I'll go ahead and make this match we're fixing to have a unified World Heavyweight Championship match right here on television today under one condition. Under one condition. Flex. Come back, Flex. Lassie, come home. Flex, under one condition. If you win, you leave here with this belt and you're the champion.
Sounds good. Championship match.
But, if I win, you just leave here. Get it? You leave here with no belt. I mean, you leave and you don't come back. You leave the USWA, and then I don't have to worry about punks like you trying to trick me out of my title anymore. Come on, oh, Flex, look. You're a big confident man a few minutes ago. You're going to win a world title.
Flex, it's a title match. Maybe it's another title match down the road for you here without such a stipulation. You look, because you lose, you're out of here. That's...
You know what, Dave? Success is all about opportunity. This is my opportunity right here, right now. Let's do it.
Oh, wait a minute now. Let's get this straight. You win, you're the champion. But if I win, you're out of here. You are out of town. You are gone. History. Arrivederci. So long. Sayonara, right? You got that? You're gone.
I got it.
Well, the match is done. All right, let's go. Let's go to the ring. Downtown Bruno in the ring right now. We got to get this one underway.
Opportunity, Dave. He's going to have the opportunity to get on a bus and get out of town after this match.
He's got the opportunity. His opportunity is becoming.
Fading into the end of the match here.
Scott Bowden.
Yeah.
What is he doing? He's in the ring. Oh, Bart Sawyer pulls him back out of the ring.
Bart Sawyer was brought out here by Kavanah as we went to our commercial break, and Sawyer's even things up. Meanwhile,
Kavanah's got it down.
He's got him, Dave.
We got 15 seconds before we're going to have to leave the air. Flex Kavanah just missed the chance to be the world champion.
Kavanah had Lawler, and the King nailed Flex
Lawler
Kavanah.
nailed him.
Oh, he set
He's
him
got a
up.
pile driver. He got
Pile drive, Flex Kavanah. He's got him covered.
Where-
Bruno's in there.
One,
A lot of
two,
pronouns.
Kavanah's gone. We got to go. We'll see you next week. Until then, for Corey Macklin, I'm Dave Brown. So long, everybody.
And just like that, he's moving on.
Yes, sir.
Vignettes begin airing in late October with Kevin Kelly and on the weekend shows to hype up the debut and explaining Rock's family history, a clip inducting his father in the Cauliflower Alley Club, and talk about Vince McMahon. Was he excited about bringing him up, and what was his outlook about bringing Rocky in?
Well, Vince is cautiously optimistic in the beginning because, you know, he's had his, he's seen that these beautiful packages sometimes don't play out. But in time, Vince became a huge Rock supporter. We also, anybody who's around you, you got to be, you know, you don't have to be an expert. You can just see it.
Yeah.
And if you're around him, you can feel his enthusiasm. And he also had a background being in the family business, that he understood things that a lot of guys took time to assimilate. So it didn't take long for Vince to become a huge Rock fan.
Well, JR, he's actually makes his first televised appearance on November 4th, 1996. There's some trivia for all you folks who like to keep up with that type of stuff. It's Raw. He's at ringside to back up the Survivor Series team he'll be making his in-ring debut with. Could you imagine looking back 25 years later, the biggest megastar is first highlighted in a walkout role while Barry Windham is taking on Goldust? Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's a journey. All these journeys are different, and they're meant to get you ready. And Rock, whether everybody's always going to agree or disagree, because I know they're not going to always agree. You know, he was on this journey that he was just refusing to change lanes. And I think that's one of the great things that made him successful. He just refused to wilt.
Guys, speaking of making a big impact, you need to make a big impact when it comes to keeping your hair. And you can do that with Keeps. JR, did you know that including myself, more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness?
Didn't know that number. It's a healthy number.
It's a healthy number. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. Keeps offers both of them. Keeps offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. How, Paul? Well, they have convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't got to leave your home. Plus, they offer 24/7 care and support. Keeps has a network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists to support you in making your hair goals a reality. Low-cost treatments start at just $10 per month, and Keeps offers a generic version of the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. Their treatment plans are affordable. That sounds good. Typically half the cost of pharmacy prices, and they have everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is the key. You don't want to look like me and start Keeps. No, it's all about prevention. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months. When it comes to saving your hair, save more and spend less. So, JR, they want to look like you. You don't want to look like me. Take action now. Prevent hair loss. Go to keeps.com/JR to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/JR to get your first month free. That's KEEPS.com/JR. Great deal, JR.
It sounds like a great deal, especially for you guys that are follically impaired. You can fix it. So if you can fix it and you don't want to be bald, here's your solution. We're about solutions here today.
That's right. Ladies love to run their fingers through their hair, or that's what people tell me. I wouldn't know anything about that. Check it out, keeps.com/JR. Well, JR, we're at the 1996 Survivor Series. Rocky makes his debut as he's the sole survivor for his team. It's Madison Square Garden. And we have the clip ready to go of that. Of course, we have to. It's the big debut. So we're going to check that out and then make some comments about it. Here we go. Let's take a listen.
Now there's going to be the man right there. That's Blue Chipper right there.
You know what? I have to agree with you, Jim Ross. I don't like you, but I got to agree with you. Rocky Maivia is looking good.
First third-generation superstar ever in the World Wrestling Federation. Rocky Maivia. Very, look at this, and the King, oh no. He's in there with the wrong individual with the King.
The veteran King from Memphis is an opportunity. Oh! Now that's he's 6'5", 275. Look at Rocky Maivia.
Unbelievable agility, yes sir.
Hey.
Whoa, look out, and the King is hoisted over the top. What an unbelievable uppercut.
Looked like a Rocky Johnson drop kick to me.
Whoa, it certainly did. And the King coming in. Oh, he wants no more of Rocky Maivia.
Let me ask you, when strong wind blows, does it just sweep it right off?
Toe to toe, and look at this. Rocky he's backing up Hunter Hearst Helmsley. What guts on the part of this young man. The rookie now, whipping Hunter Hearst to back. Body drop.
Very nice.
And Rocky with a presence of mind.
Dominant superstar in the World Wrestling Federation. That's impressive.
Look at this. Rocky Maivia with Goldust.
Shoulder breaker.
And yes. 1, 2. I can't believe it.
Here is your winner.
Oh my God, I feel like my name should be Adrian.
What a way to make your debut with a big show in the Big Apple at the Survivor Series.
JR, how cool is it now going as we go through the story to see he ends in Memphis with the King, starts in WWF with the King right there at the Survivor Series.
Continuity.
Love it.
And comfort. So it's good. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart booking.
It's
who the hell else did you want to be there with your star rookie than somebody like Lawler who could work with anybody? So it was good. It was a good marriage.
It was very cool. And when you take a look back at the show, it's hard not to notice how much of a launching point this is for just the WWF in general. You have Rocky's first match. You have Steve Austin losing to Bret Hart, but really he's being elevated into the top spot. Shawn Michaels drops the title to Sid, but showing off an edge against a hostile New York crowd. So this is a pretty big moment when you look back in WWF's quest to regain the top spot from WCW.
Yeah, it might have been a little too much too soon. I think that's what turned the people against Rock. He didn't do anything character-wise. He didn't change his personality, but he was a rookie, green kid, handsome, caused a lot of jealousy with men, 18 to 49, that beloved demographic. But he was, I think, probably a little too much too soon. I'm not so sure looking back at it if it was a thing to do to have him win that match.
And we're going to go through this in detail as far as how he progressed from this baby face that nobody wanted to accept to the Rock that he became. And at this point, he's just defeating enhancement guys at the time. T.L. Hopper, you remember him, Tony Anthony, Salvatore Sincere. He even turns down Jim Cornette, who wants to manage him. And I guess it's all intended just to slow burn Rocky, is it not?
Yeah, just that people get acquainted with him, feed him more information, and little bits at a time, so they could digest it, process it, and retain it.
We covered his Intercontinental title win over Hunter on Thursday Raw Thursday, so check that one out. It's in the archives. JR and I did that one together. But the overexposure that is often talked about for Rocky at the time isn't really true. He's not on Raw for a couple of weeks after this. Was it a conscious part and creative to not overexpose him too much at this point?
I don't know who decides whether you're overexposed or not. The fans.
Yeah.
And as long as the fans were giving us a reaction to Rock, then we're going to be happy. If they didn't give a shit and they were nonplussed about him, then we have an issue. But that's not what we perceived we were at. We knew that we were in good shape there with him.
JR, do you recall when you started to hear the rejection of Rocky? Was it before the Intercontinental title win or during the title victory or after?
Good question. I don't really remember the timeline of that. It's been too long ago. But it wasn't long after the Survivor Series that the Boo Birds came out.
Yeah. Speaking of rejection, if your body is rejecting sleep, Chili Sleep can fix that for you. Chili Sleep makes customizable, climate-controlled sleep solutions that help you improve your entire well-being. Chili Sleep makes the Uller and Cube sleep systems hydro-powered, temperature-controlled mattress toppers that fit over your existing mattresses to provide your ideal sleep temperature. Can't overstate how important that is. These luxury mattress pads keep your bed at the perfect temperature, not just for light sleep, but for deep sleep. Whether you sleep hot or cold, these sleep systems are designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and give you the confidence and energy to power through your day. Imagine waking up and not feeling tired. Chili Sleep can help make that happen for you. JR, I'm a hot sleeper. We've talked about it. And what I mean by that is I can't handle a ton of blankets. My wife says I am red hot to sleep next to. But no, sir, not anymore. Once my body hits the bed, it's like I just took the people's elbow and a rock bottom. It's lights out, JR.
Yeah, well, it works. Yeah, we talked about things working and how we endorse products that we know works. Most of us at some times in our life underestimate the value of good night's sleep, and getting REM sleep is extremely important. You know, I suffer from sleep apnea, so I wear a sleep apnea mask at night. But anything I can do to help my level of sleep is what I work on. It is a priority. Going to bed a little earlier, being a little smarter with myself at this stage of my game. So sleep cannot be overrated, and this will help you sleep much better, much more comfortable, and get that nice, quiet, deep REM sleep that we all seek.
So listen, head over to chilisleep.com/JR. That's it. The two best letters in the alphabet, JR. Learn more. Save 30% off the purchase of any new Cube or Uller sleep system. This offer is available exclusively for Grilling JR listeners and only for a limited time. That's Chili, CHILI, sleep.com/JR to take advantage of our exclusive discount and wake up refreshed every day. JR, it seems like it's got to be hard to get a fiery white meat babyface over, while at the same time you have Bret Hart, he's cursing on Raw. You have Steve Austin, he's flipping the double birds. You have anti-heroes like the NWO, they're excelling at this point in the business. Is it not? I mean, to have that white meat babyface trying to get over at the same time?
Well, I think the business was accepting edginess.
Yeah.
Knowing Rock, who played football at the U down in Miami, they're one of the edgiest football programs in history. He's a part of that culture. So we knew that Rock could communicate, and we knew that he could have an edge. We just had to get into that spot to where it would be more accepted, and he would be good at it.
Well, at Final Four in WrestleMania, Rocky retains his Intercontinental title twice over Triple H and the Sultan. And for the first time, Rocky Johnson comes out to help fight off Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik. JR, at this point, is anyone thinking maybe we should start pulling off the push on Rocky?
I don't think pull off of it as in not have one. No, the answer would be easy answer. No, but we knew we had to be aware of not force feeding him to where the fans are going to just spit him back at us.
Yeah. Last week, you and Conrad watched the Raw's War where he lost the title to Owen Hart, the Intercontinental belt. Do you sit with Rocky at this time, JR, and say, hey, maybe we got to talk to creative. We got something here with this kid. He needs confidence. How do you fix a floundering talent basically at this point?
He had confidence, Paul. He had plenty of confidence. He just needed time. That's all. That's simple. He needed more reps. He needed more ring time. I need to continue to book him with people that could help him and lead a match and be supportive. So that was kind of our goal there with that. So, but he never lacked confidence, ever.
What is he? Do you remember him talking to you though at all during this period where he's trying to figure out kind of what's next for him because this isn't working? Do you ever remember?
Well, not like a lot of guys would that were in his position because of Rock's family background. He understood this is a process. He understood this is going to take some time. The question was always going to be, how long is it going to take? Well, it depends on the audience and how quick they accept you. It depends on how good you get at your craft. So, but he never lacked confidence. And we knew it was there. It's just a matter of, like a lot of people, it's the same train of thought that people had with Brock Lesnar. Oh, he's ready to go. I remember when Vince wanted to bring Brock to TV the first time and have a TV match. I said, he's not ready. And I said, I don't want to be responsible for him hurting somebody until he's more fundamentally sound. So we pulled back on that a little bit, and it worked out beautifully.
Well, it sounds
same
like,
basic thing for Rock, frankly.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a real level of maturity. You've told me before, JR, that wrestlers can be the most insecure and paranoid people to deal with, but it sounds like Rock had a different level of maturity, and maybe it was from just growing up in the business and seeing how.
Well, he understood the product. He understood the process. And when you don't have to teach that, it makes it a lot easier for the transitions.
Well, he would lose to Mankind at Cold Day in Hell, and Mick Foley even wrote in his book he didn't think Rocky had it. In commentary that night, you even said that in Rocky's win over Hunter back in February that the better man didn't win on that night, and he was an unsuccessful Intercontinental Champion. Jim, do you remember any of that? Do you know maybe why you would have said that? Was this just kind of the storyline kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it was all storyline oriented, Paul. That's what Vince wanted.
Okay.
We're going to back off a little bit. The hearts and flowers and, hugs and kisses. We're going to back off that a little bit and take some of the pressure off Dwayne. And we did, and it worked.
Well, this is probably what Rock would look back now and say was probably the best thing that happened to him, even though it's an awful thing, and that's he hurts his knee, misses a few months. But when you look back at it in hindsight, is that a blessing in disguise? Because it gives him that time.
Might have been. Yeah, it might have been. You don't want anybody to get hurt for any reason.
Right.
But if it was going to happen, and I suspect it's probably a lingering football issue, my guess, loose particles or something. I don't think it was like an ACL deal. He was only out of, shorter time than some are with knee injuries. But yeah, it was probably coming a good time. Let him step away, assess where he's traveled thus far, and create a strategy to returning to action.
JR, can you remember during this time where he's out, where he's injured, he's trying to come back? Do you keep in contact with him? You having conversations with him? Where's his head at this point?
Yeah, good talent relations people keep in contact with their talent. I either text him every day or we talked once or twice a week to see how he's feeling. He's already back. He was almost back in the gym immediately. That's his work ethic.
Yeah.
That's his background. That's his DNA. So he had that where a lot of guys just didn't have it. They didn't have that opportunity. So, but I would make sure he was not feeling sorry for himself or whatever. But because of his legitimate and mainstream athletic background, dealing with injuries is a part of the process. He'd been hurt at Miami too, and he had to set out a year. I think he had his freshman year or something. But in any event, he managed his way through it. He was prepared for that sort of challenge.
No, you said it. He's notorious for pushing forward, not letting things get to him, and it's evidenced by all the success he's had in every single venture in his life. He's a rare breed, man. He just pushes through, and what he's done and accomplished in his life speaks volumes to exactly what you're saying. And he returns to the WWF, and he's at house shows. He's defeating Farouk and Rockabilly, and then the decision's made putting him with the Nation. Talk about that decision, where that came out of. Do you remember who made the decision and what that looked like? Hey, we see there could be a nice fit here for The Rock.
Well, it just seemed like it made sense. The ethnicity aspect of what we were doing, in many people's eyes, was not then and would not be now politically correct. But we knew that that group of guys would look after him. They were going to be aware of what we had invested in him and what our plans were. So in other words, Nation, your job is to help Rocky get good so we can spin him out of your group and he can be a babyface. They all knew that.
Let's talk about right here the influence of Ron Simmons, Farouk, and him taking Rock under his wing. I mean, thoughts on that? What can you share about pairing him up with Ron Simmons in particular?
Well, those two guys had a lot in common other than being men of color. They both were Division I football stars. Ron, the bigger star of the two. So there's a lot of respect there that that came with Ron's legacy. I think Rock respected that, and Ron was willing to coach up Rock and help him out, which a lot of guys would not do. So it was a team effort, no doubt about that. But we needed something for those guys. A lot of people, including myself, was not overly sure that the Nation of Domination was the way to go, simply because of the connotations that some people would have about this powerful black group holding their fist up in the air like the Olympics in '68. Tommy John and John Carlos had that protest. That's still etched in the minds of a lot of us. So we were young and impressionable at that time. So it didn't have a positive feeling, but we were also not to try to overthink it. They were heels. They were villains. They were not supposed to be liked. And so that's kind of how I see that. But it was a little risky, but at the end of the day, it worked.
It certainly did, and we have it here because, of course, we do, JR. It's Raw. It's August 11th. It's 1997. Rocky Maivia comes out of the crowd to interfere in a match between Chains and Brian Lee, and we have the clip here. Let's take a look.
Oh, my goodness. The official knocked silly on that one.
Well, Jack Doan, the referee, knocked down. Maybe knocked out.
And a cover here, but there's no one there to count.
Good.
It's unfortunate.
Wait a minute. There's Rocky Maivia. There's The Rock. Great to see The Rock back. What's he doing in the ring? Checking on the referee to make sure he's okay. And look at this.
What?
Wait a minute. Tell me. Now that.
What?
Rocky, come on.
See, it's a better fit. It already feels better. It being a heel. It felt like the right thing at that point in time. They looked good together. And it was a start of some pretty big stuff.
His mom and daddy watching in Tampa, they got to be sitting at home in disbelief. What?
Whoa! I think we have just seen a new member of the nation. I can't believe this.
There it is, JR. The Rock embraces destiny, turns heel, joins the nation, and he shows 15 times more charisma in just 2 minutes than he did his entire
He was comfortable.
Yeah.
He found his identity. That's what you're always looking for. And there's no textbook. There's no the internet, Twitter polls. None of that matters. It's all about is the talent now comfortable in their skin where they can pull this thing off. And like I said, you can see in a few steps, he was ready.
There's the steps, and here's the first promo, JR. He's turned heel. It's Raw. It's now August 18th, 1997. So the very next week, and we would hear from The Rock. Let's take a listen. His first heel promo. Here we go.
Here's a young man that came to the WWF trying to do things the American way. Well, what did you people do? No, you frowned on him. He came out here kissing babies, shaking hands, helping old ladies across the street. But he found out that is not the way to do it. Anything in this world that's worth getting, Rocky Maivia found out that the nation stands for it and that it's fighting your way through. Tell him, Rocky.
I got 3 words. Die, Rocky, die. That's the gratitude I get from you pieces of crap for all my blood, my sweat, and my tears. You know, hey, this isn't about the color of my skin. This is about respect. I became the youngest Intercontinental Champion in WWF history. And what did it get me? In arenas across the country, I heard chants of Rocky sucks.
Tim naturally is a heel.
Well, Rocky Maivia is a lot of things, but sucks isn't one of them. I want to make one point to all you jackass fans out there. Rocky Maivia and the new nation of Domination lives, breathes, and dies respect. And we will earn respect by any means necessary.
By the way, for all those that can't watch it, that is JR in the ring holding the mic for The Rock's very first heel promo. Man,
I'm a good microphone holder.
But my point
is,
you
got good guys there too. Charles Wright.
Yeah. my point is here, JR, while you get a drink there, you are a thread throughout so much history in the business that so many of us love. You're right there for The Rock's first heel promo ever.
Right place, right time, my boy.
Whew. So cool. Here I go again, licking your nuts, as that guy called me out for, but I can't help it. This is the truth. I'm just stating the truth. There you are. And you can see how he's just more comfortable talking, acting like a heel. This is finally the right creative, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. You could feel how he walked, how he moved, the confidence. He even still knew confidence and fire with the other guys. It was a group that came together kind of by happenstance that actually worked from night one.
And not to be lost on all this, you were talking about the Nation of Domination, but you had the whole gang war kind of mentality at this point in WWF in 97. You had the Nation, the Disciples of Apocalypse, Los Boricuas. You had an extension of the Hart Foundation, all these stables being put together. There's just a ton of talent put into these groups. Did you have is it an excess amount of talent, just hoping to have some of them, stick and maybe
You can't book that way. You can't book with, I don't know. We're booking too much. You don't know. You're not, unless things are tried and they get a test drive to some level, then you never know. So to say, well, I was worried about we had too many teams. Look, it's not up to me. If creative wants teams, and they did, I'm going to get you teams. But that was not that was just straightforward stuff, man. So no, I don't think I wasn't worried about it, because the good teams are going to make it to the next level and the bad teams are going to fade away.
And you're going to have those guys that end up standing out and becoming stars. And that's the reality of what happened here with this group. Rock ended up separating himself and being the standout star and went off on his own eventually and just became just an incredible superstar. So in October, there's segments between the Nation and the Hart Foundation, JR, that really bring up some deep issues, including racism. Is this something you wish hadn't been a part of the WWF at this time?
If I had my choice in creative, I would never write any creative that was heavily laden with religion or race.
Amen.
Either one. Just don't see that. That's just me. Maybe I'm too old fashioned.
No,
I don't see who wins in that scenario.
Nobody.
It conjures up too many long-term memories and pieces of history.
Absolutely.
So no, I'm never going to be a fan of religion or race angles at all.
Well, you have Ahmed Johnson, who had about 2 weeks in the Nation before getting hurt, returns and puts together what's just months earlier what would have been a strong babyface group of himself. You got Ken Shamrock and LOD, the Legion of Doom. And the Nation at the time had Farouk, The Rock, D'Lo Brown, and Kamal Mustafa, as you said, the Godfather. There's a ton of big-time talent between these 8 men, and they're scheduled, JR, to take each other on at the Survivor Series. But, man, Rock and Shamrock, they had a lot of chemistry in the ring together.
Yeah, well, they did, and 2 great athletes. They were both competitive as hell. So, no, that was some magic. I always thought, Shamrock left WWE, in my opinion, too early. I understand we had long talks about him wanting to continue to fight in MMA. He had a chance to make some big money on a handful of fights. Then maybe we'd get him back, but at some point down the road. But Kenny was very talented, very underrated, quite frankly. Could have been a big, big star there if he had stayed and not returned to MMA. But that's what you do. You got, like you said, here's the point. You got 2 tags. It's an 8-man tag now, let's say.
Yeah.
Some of you guys got to get off your ass. We can't have 8 guys creating a payoff out of one match for all 8 of you. We need some separation. So who's going to step up? That's basically what you if you're thinking. So, because you can't afford to have, how many 8-man tag teams you're going to have? You got to pay them.
Yeah.
You got to travel them.
Well, the Nation would end up being the losers at Survivor Series, but really the story coming to that whole deal, that was the Montreal Screwjob Survivor Series. So the Hart Foundation, they're going away, opens up a spot for another top heel to step forward to be programmed against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And man, it was The Rock. Did Steve see something in The Rock, or was it Vince who was pushing for this? Do you remember any of that dialogue?
I don't know anybody who wasn't pushing for it, Paul. Why would anybody in their right fucking mind have any issues, seriously, about a young athletic heel working with another guy you want to get over, Stone Cold? When they liked each other, they had great chemistry. There was nothing not to like. There was nothing to worry about in that regard. But obviously Austin was going to bless the booking because he could do that at that time. And he could bless the booking, and he did. He wanted to work with Dwayne. And that's why they had those. Yeah, he wanted to work with him.
Yeah.
They headlined 15, 17, and 19 WrestleManias.
And even at this stage, he knew that's the guy right there. Even at that point, he knew.
They felt it. They felt they both liked each other. They wanted to work with each other. They both were aggressive and physical, and they both communicated very well.
Did it feel like the rest of the Nation members, Farouk, Ron Simmons, whatever you call them, were they all supportive of, hey, yeah, Rocky, it's your turn, or was there any heat?
Yeah, because they knew if it happened to Rocky, it could happen to one of them.
Okay.
They weren't jealous. They weren't boo-boo facing it. I'm trying to, I can squeeze some dirt out here for you for some of these dirt-sucking pricks that love it. But come on. They were, and that's how you explain it to them. Well, if it happened for him, why can't it happen for you? It's up to you. It's not all about the office and the booking. It's about how you perform the booking that you're given. And if you exceed the expectations on a regular enough basis, you're doing pretty damn good.
JR, let's talk about The Rock. Was it a combination of Rocky and creative? Was it The Rock who came up with it himself, start calling himself The Rock? What about the origin of
I think that The Rock was more his than anybody else's, as far as I can recall. Those are the obscure things I can't remember after all these years, but so I can't help you on that one. But I think, if my memory serves me correctly, it was basically his idea to be called The Rock.
Speaking of The Rock, I have a feeling I know where the Great One is finding all the parts for his millions and millions of cars. That's right. It's at Rock Auto Parts. One reason to repair and maintain your cars is to save money that then you can use for the important things in life, like JR's barbecue sauce, his seasonings, and t-shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees. Why would you choose to spend 30%, 50%, or 100% more for the exact same auto parts at a chain store or a new car dealership? Go to rockauto.com. It's a family-owned business serving auto parts customers online for 20 years. So go to rockauto.com to shop for auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. They have everything from engine control modules and brake parts to tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. That's right. Whether it's for your classic or daily driver, get everything you need in a few easy clicks delivered directly to your door. JR, I love easy purchases like this. Rock Auto delivers it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And the fact that it's a family-owned company, and they stake their family's reputation on every deal that they make, it excites me. So we're glad to have them along with us.
Absolutely. The rockauto.com catalog is unique and remarkably easy to navigate. Quickly see all the parts available for every vehicle and choose the brand specifications and prices you prefer. Best of all, prices at rockauto.com are always reliably low and the same for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Why spend up to twice as much for the same parts? Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write JR in there where it says, "How did you hear about us?" box, so they know the voice of wrestling sent you.
Hey, folks, it's time to take your podcast game to the next level. And you certainly want to get your almighty push. My God, we have to have a push, right? We'll get that over to adfreeshows.com. Now, I'm telling you, if you're a fan of Grilling JR, adfreeshows.com has the entire episode library, and it's got no ads. 0 ads, zilch, none. Ad-free and on video starting at just $9. Did you hear what I said? $9. You spend more than that at Starbucks, for God's sakes. 2 mornings. But that's not all, folks. We got tons of bonus content, including my after-hours roundtable, where drinking was involved with Eric and Tony. You simply will not find a better value in all of wrestling. Hey, look, don't make me go red ass, because by God, you know I will. Hurry over to adfreeshows.com right now and sign up. And I thank you.
JR, this is really when that begins and starts to get hammered home. The Rock. Everything you've been waiting for, his career is really about to begin, isn't it?
Yeah, he's right on target. Right on target. And it was always, I used to remember a lot of the dirt sheets issues were, he needs to be pushed harder. You know, whatever mile per hour push he was on was never going to be enough. It's just fans. They always got a better idea, because it's their idea. And
yeah,
but he was getting right where we wanted him, no doubt about that. He was just exceptional. And the irony of that was, we also knew there was so much interest in him outside of wrestling that it seemed to be almost inevitable that at some point in time, sooner than later, he's going to be doing movies.
And boy, hasn't that happened. Biggest box office star in the world. But do you think, I got to ask this, do you think the crowd rejecting Rock earlier in the year and now being with the Nation helps in making him that easy target for Steve? Or is it Steve's ability at this point to simply elevate the Rock at his level?
Well, Steve's going to elevate the Rock, because Steve knew he was going over. And if you're going to go over, you want to make sure you beat somebody with some credibility. And part of that credibility comes from the opponent. So Steve knew what he had to do. But I think we needed a hot young heel that could bump and Peter come back and could ostensibly beat Austin. Big enough, strong enough, all those good things. So I just thought it was a good marriage. I don't know what anybody could have done any better than what we did with Rock and Steve.
Perfect.
And that rivalry they had was just magical.
And we're going to get into some fun clips here, because The Rock's comedic timing and Austin's ability to draw that reaction is put on display. No bigger outlet than Rock Austin's 316 beeper segment. This is November 24th, 1997. If you want to go back and watch it, we have the clip right here, but it is the beeper segment that everyone still talks about. JR, let's take a look at this clip. Here we go.
Here's what happened last week. Stone Cold taking on the whole nation. A sacrificial lamb. Look at The Rock. Look at The Rock right there. Had one thing on his mind. That was to steal the Intercontinental belt, and he was successful. Wait a minute. I'd say allegedly. Allegedly. Look, he's got it around his waist or his shoulder. Yeah, possession's 9/10 of the law.
Right. Michael Cole there.
Rocky, just one question.
I'd say it was over.
The last thing The Rock needs is some jabroni asking him questions when he's got all the answers. Let's get 2 things perfectly clear right here, right now in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And that's Rock is the people's champion. The Rock, your real Intercontinental champion.
Apparently we're having some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Our lights are...
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing's for damn sure. The Rock is the best damn Intercontinental champion there ever was.
Apparently some audio problems as well. We apologize for that.
You know, December 7th, D-Generation X, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin wants a knockdown, drag-out, slobber-knocker kind of fight, and that's fine.
Thanks, Rock.
But this particular match is going to be on my terms. The Rock is calling all the shots on this one. Why? Because I'm the champ, and I got it like that.
Who's doing that, Ross? I have no
Stone Cold Steve Austin. You want to call The Rock a jackass? Well, get up close on this one, cameraman. Bro, all the people know who the real jackass is. Thank you very much.
Again, a new facility here.
What the hell's going on?
I apologize for these technical problems. This building's only 5 weeks.
Hey, go fix that incompetence.
Anything to do with that sign back there. You're right about that. I think the nation's going to go take care of that technical problem. I think The Rock is sending these guys out to the TV truck. Well, Rock's not too happy.
Look at Chief Stone Cold in the control suite. Look at him. He just back up. Don't say a word.
There's your answer right there.
Rocky Maivia thinks he's going to be on TV tonight. He's only going to be there if Stone Cold wants him to be there. They actually pay you to do this. A damn kindergarten student could do this. Rocky, I'm calling all the shots. I'm pushing all the buttons. And I'm going to tell you something right now. When you're walking through the airport and your beeper goes off, you look down and it says 316. You know your ass belongs to Stone Cold. You got to ask yourself a question. With me learning all this technology, you got to wonder, is it live or is it Memorex? Give me the damn controls, you piece of trash. See, because I can do this. You put your cap down, wear that. Try to be somebody for once. What's Rocky doing? How you like it? Give me some sounds, man.
Well, somebody needs to get off of the truck. They did. Also got himself out of the truck. My God, the rattlesnake right behind the rock. Rocky's beeper just went off. And it goes to 316. Stone Cold is over the tail. What goes? Rocky
Feed the comeback. Feed the comeback. As a heel, you make yourself available to the baby face. Do everything the baby face needs to do to look strong. Emotional investment. That's what you're experiencing. Plus, Steve, have a hell of fun in that chair.
He's involved in the Domination. Into the ring.
You take your little belt. Take your little belt. Go home. Have yourself a good Thanksgiving. And here's a little bird for you to enjoy right now.
See too many empty seats. All those slouches. Got to joke with the audience.
My
Good
goodness.
stuff.
It's a rock show. And I mean, just the energy. They had it. They had chemistry from the get-go.
Yep. Yeah. Don't try to fuck with it. Don't try to change it. Don't try to tweak it. Let it flow. It's that simple. It really is.
Well, Austin and Rock are scheduled for Steve's first Intercontinental title defense at In Your House DX. Austin really still isn't up to full speed from his neck injury, but they put on a hell of a show, JR. I'm going to read some notes here from the Observer.
Oh, from Dave?
From Dave.
Oh, how much did Dave pay us for getting him all over the show? God dang. I've been reading about that.
Oh, really? There are people commenting that we're paying him.
Or he's paying us or we're paying him.
Oh, God.
Somebody's getting paid. I don't know.
Well, he was the one taking all the notes back then, so we're going to use his notes. Steve Austin pins Rocky Maivia 5 minutes, 32 seconds to retain the Intercontinental title. Austin came to the ring in his truck and got by far the best reaction of anyone on the show. The entire Nation of Domination attacked Austin, but he made his own comeback and backdropped D'Lo Brown over the top rope, and he broke the windshield in landing. Austin then gave him a stunner on the roof of the truck. Match had super heat. After a Thez press, Austin was destroying Maivia until taking a bump to the floor where Farouk and Kama attacked him. Farouk went to hit Austin with a chair, but he moved. Kama took the blow. Austin whipped Kama into the truck In the ring, Maivia used the dreaded overdone low blow on Austin, but missed an elbow drop. After more distractions, Austin put the stunner on the ref, who he thought was Maivia. He then used the stunner on Maivia, and a second ref ran in to make the count. You can't expect Austin to have the kind of matches he had in the past due to his injuries, but given his limitations, this was pretty entertaining. 2.25 stars. This was the best use to Austin here, though, with all the smoke and mirrors. But The Rock, man, is the perfect fool for Austin at this point.
Great casting, or booking, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Well, JR, speaking of foiling, you want to make sure your life insurance plans aren't foiled with Goliath Life. Yes, it's time to tell you again about something I'm super passionate about, and that's protecting your family. This is a life insurance ad for GoliathLife.com, but to me, this is really about peace of mind. Think about insurance for a second. We all have medical and auto insurance, at least we should, yet we never even know if we're going to have a need for it. Let me let you in on a little secret. You definitely need life insurance because we're all going to die. That's the reality. Now, as you let that sink in, think about what would happen if your family stopped having your income tomorrow. If you don't have a plan for that, you need to visit GoliathLife.com, and I mean right now. Listen, I've lost 2 friends in their 40s in the last year and a half, and I don't even want to think about what their families would be going through had they not had life insurance. If you don't have it, get it. Protect your family. And I suggest you go to GoliathLife.com because they've made the process of getting affordable life insurance super easy. GoliathLife.com streamlines the life insurance process by allowing you to get quotes from more than 20 carriers within minutes, and you'll pick your terms and payments to fit your budget. You pick your price, you start the online application immediately, and even schedule the medical exam to come to you. I've done it. They sent someone to my office. I skipped the phone calls, the paperwork, the crazy invasive conversations. GoliathLife.com makes buying life insurance simple. There's no hidden fees, no upsells, and no hassle. Hell, not even a phone call. GoliathLife.com is life insurance in your hands and on your time. Get multiple quick quotes right now from the comfort of your own home and begin your application in a few easy clicks right now at GoliathLife.com. Life insurance.
Everybody can afford it, folks. They'll answer all your questions. It's a simple process to find out what you can afford, what you wanted, how much money you want on hand. If something were to happen to you, here's the bottom line. It sounds morbid. Something is going to happen to you. At some point, we all got to go. And so you can help your family if that's important to you. And why in God's name would it not be with insurance? And you can get insurance here that you can afford. You name the price, your terms. So give it a shot and be prepared for the worst case scenario. That's exactly how I used to manage talent relations. You got to manage with the worst case scenario in mind.
So good. GoliathLife.com. Absolutely, JR. JR, also around this time from the Observer, and I want to read this because I really want your feedback on this. Meltzer says, in the case of Austin, the original plan was for him to lose the title at the December 7th pay-per-view to Rocky Maivia. However, Austin balked. A compromise was worked out where instead he got over his defiant anti-establishment role. Maivia got the title, although the reasons clearly made no sense, and Austin didn't have to do a job. As best we can tell, there was no heat regarding what ended up happening as everyone involved in the decision-making process was comfortable with the compromise, although the end result was a storyline that made no logical sense in regards to Maivia ending up with the title. The approach Austin took basically, since the current plan is for him to win the WWF title at Mania from Shawn Michaels, is that since he's headlining WrestleMania, he didn't think it would be good for him to do a high-profile job to a heel who is just getting established as a top name like Rocky was, even though no doubt the finish would have involved tons of outside interference. Not to mention that unlike in his past, his physical limitations wouldn't allow him to put on a great match in a losing effort. Whether one agrees with the logic or his side of things, and it isn't believed that he has creative control clause in his deal with Vince, like Hart did.
He didn't.
Okay.
By the way, he didn't have a creative control clause. It was something. It was. There's always more than one right way to do it, and for Steve to go into WrestleMania with no momentum and losing his last major match didn't sound like it was a good promotion for WrestleMania. And I'm biased with Austin, there's no doubt, but and same with Rock for that matter. So I didn't see that big a deal in it, to be honest with you, knowing where we were going. And there was a reason we didn't beat Austin.
He goes on, Jim, and I'm not going to read all of it, but there's a lot of guys through time that get a lot of shit for not dropping titles. Shawn Michaels has, especially. But do you think, as Meltzer says, Austin gets a pass, so to speak, regarding this?
You mean for doing the right thing?
For just saying he didn't want to lose the title.
He didn't want to lose the title because it didn't make any fucking sense, Paul. I mean, it's bad booking. We're trying to make the guy. We spent a lot of time talking about Rock in his show on his birthday week, where he's 50 years old on Monday. But golly, no, man, I think there's plenty of time for Rock to get everything he had coming to him.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how that's ascertained. So, but that's my point to you is that I didn't sense all the controversy. When the word leaked out what the original finish is going to be, then all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
So whoever told Meltzer that got all their information disseminated, so they should be happy.
Plus, it's the long game, right? Like you said, the build was for him to go to WrestleMania. You don't want to have him necessarily take the pin. So there's a compromise. You work through it with the talent. That's called working through it.
That's right.
But, the spin here is definitely Austin. He should get some shit for not being willing to drop the title. Well, here we go. This is the forfeit of the Intercontinental title. It does happen, and JR, we have the clip of it. If you're looking to watch it, watch along the Raw, and you don't have ad-free shows access to watch it with us here on video, it is December 8th, 1997. Excuse me. We're going to check it out now. Here it is, JR.
Maybe we have our answer.
Compete here tonight.
Well, son, I'm always ready to compete. You're saying just because I'm wearing jeans, I can't wrestle?
No, if you want to wear jeans, it's all right. Let's go ahead and wrestle.
Well, no, it's not like that. It's not that easy. See, I went back and had my little hot dog. I had a couple of Steve Weisers.
Steve Weisers? Brewski.
And I decided, Vince, that I ain't going to wrestle because I done whipped his ass once. I will not do it tonight. You keep talking about your little consequences, so I want to know what you're prepared to do. What are you going to do? Are you going to fire me?
Vince, The Rock thinks you should fire him. Stay out of this. You stay out of this.
Vince made PJ Carlissimo before this is all over with.
I'm not going to fire you. What I'm going to do, Steve Austin, you're forcing me to strip you of that Intercontinental title right now. You're forcing me to strip you of it and give it to The Rock.
Whoa! Not popular. Maybe not a healthy decision.
If you think for one split second that you can strip this title from Stone Cold Steve Austin, take it from my hands right now, and I'll knock your damn teeth out.
I don't think they're real anyway, but I don't think McMahon would like to lose them.
What I will do, Vince, because I done been the Intercontinental Champion, I done been the Tag Team Champions. Hell, son, there ain't but one belt in the federation that I'm interested in, and that's the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt.
Hear that, Shawn Michaels?
So what I'm going to do, Rock, is I'm going to forfeit the damn title to you tonight.
What?
Because I got bigger fish to fry. So go ahead and take the damn thing because I don't want it no more.
Rocky's somewhat apprehensive.
Take it.
Huh?
Take it.
Take it.
Apparently The Rock is a new...
Ladies and gentlemen.
Shut up. Shake my hand, champ. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, champ. This is on the up and up.
Trust the snake?
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new Intercontinental Champion, The Rock.
Now, this is a shocker. You ain't lying. Second time The Rock has been Intercontinental. Whoa! Austin! Stone Cold!
DTA, right? Don't trust anybody. There's your little Intercontinental Champion laying right there on his ass. You talk about your TV ratings. You send the camera crew with me because Steve Austin's got plans for the belt and it ain't got a damn thing to do with wrestling. All you got to do is tune in next week. Same Stone Cold time, same Stone Cold channel.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now he's stolen the belt. He's forfeited the Intercontinental title. He says he's got plans for the belt. Rocky Maivia is a new Intercontinental champion.
Rocky's still selling the stunner.
And Stone Cold's back, King. Back. Now one last hurrah for the Intercontinental belt. Look at McMahon. Stone Cold just knocked Vince McMahon off the apron. He said no more free shows. Let's see if he's a man of his word.
All right, JR. Hindsight is what it is. What do you think about how that was all handled?
I had no problem with it, Paul.
Okay.
I have no problem with it. I know you're trying to get me to be Red Ass JR right now. You're digging and you're squeezing and you're looking everywhere you can find to go. It's over. And I just don't think the booking should never have been done the way that it was. Okay. You don't want to beat the guy that's going to become the champion in his last big match before WrestleMania. That's just my philosophy. And I might be wrong. So with that said, all that other stuff we just saw, it didn't bother me.
I know, but I also know you're a longtime wrestling fan, and you know that's not how that type of thing always happens, where you just give it to somebody else.
It wasn't. You're right.
Yeah.
But we got to be willing to try new things. We got to be willing to experiment to some degree, and see where that takes us. But I didn't have a big issue with it whatsoever. I'd rather seen it to be done in a more to appease you and Dave, a more traditional way,
tournament style, ladder, something.
I get it.
Yeah.
So would that have worked? Of course it would have worked if that's the direction you wanted to go. That was not the road we decided to travel, and it gave Rock a tainted title. The baby faces could always have that to point at when they're challenging him. It kept Austin from losing this big match before WrestleMania, where we knew the outcome. So no, it didn't affect me.
Okay,
you know, I didn't worry about how many stars I got or whatever. I'm cool with that.
Social media would have had a field day if a championship belt was passed along that way now. But I get it. It's all good. It's passed. That's how it happened. It worked. And we move on, because the very next week, the final clip of the show, JR, it's one of the all-time classic skits, I guess you could say, with Austin. It's December 15th. It's 1997. It's Austin. He has that belt. And wait till you see what he does with it. Let's take a look.
According to The Rock's Rolex, Stone Cold Steve Austin, your time is up. And judging by the simple fact that your sorry carcass isn't out here delivering what's rightfully The Rock's, and that's the Intercontinental belt, it just goes to show that you're as gutless as can be. So now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, you've managed to do something that you shouldn't have done, and that's piss The Rock off. So now The Rock and the Nation are coming to get my Intercontinental belt.
Well, hell, as you can see, it's a beautiful night. You got the moon shining bright up there. You got the cars going back and forth over there. But you ain't got no one on this bridge but Stone Cold Steve Austin with the Intercontinental Championship belt. Rock, when I gave this belt to you, I did just that. You didn't have to earn a damn thing. Well, tonight, son, if you want to find it, I got a few things that I'm going to give you first. If you're going to find it, you're going to need a few objects. You're going to need your little mask so that you can see under the water. You're going to need your little snorkel. Hell, son, you might even need a regulator because you're going to have to go deep. So I got you a little oxygen tank, and I really doubt there's any oxygen in the damn thing. But nonetheless, there the damn thing is. And I tell you what, Rock, take your little flippers because you probably can't swim worth a damn either. Here's a cell phone. When you find the damn thing, dial my number. And here's a pager. When you dial me, tell me you found your little belt. I'll page you back, put the 316, and give you the big thumbs up. Right? You're the biggest piece of trash I ever saw. It hurts me to do this, but I really don't give a damn about you or the WWF, so I'll see you a little bit later.
Oh, my. No! There goes the belt!
Into the river. We're in
And
Michigan,
that's the bottom line, because the 316 said so.
It was colder than hell that night, too, as I recall.
Let him swim out there and find the damn thing. If he's lucky, he'll find it. If he don't, maybe he'll drown. I really don't give a damn what he does.
Well, Austin has done it again. He's defied authority. The Intercontinental title is sleeping where the fish is tonight. And Rocky's got a good swim in front of him if he ever expects to get it back.
Jim Cornette commentary.
What the video didn't show is a teenage Conrad Thompson just belly flopped into that body of Lawler looking for that title belt.
Oh, yeah, probably so.
Him, Pondwater, Dave, Jay-Z, Flair, they're all looking for that title, add their collection. I love it. But, Jim, how good is all this? I mean, this is fantastic.
Once in a lifetime, Paul.
It is.
Rock was a once-in-a-lifetime talent, just like Austin. And we were just blessed and lucky we had them at the same time. And they liked each other. They're professional. Those two guys are as responsible as any other two guys you can name to help forward the WWE forward into a publicly traded company.
Yeah, bringing millions of dollars into other wrestlers' pockets. You know, JR?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, Rock begins to transition to feuding Ken Shamrock and the tease of the Nation's breakup, but that's a story for 1998. It's just crazy that just in a year-and-a-half period, he goes from that blue-chip rookie to one of the best heels in the business by the end of 97. And you had to think, man, sky's the limit at this point. It's the rocket ship.
Yeah, just keep him healthy and let's make history.
And that you certainly did, JR. It's time for fan questions, which is what I like to call here on Grilling JR, triggering JR. Let's see if we can do any of that this time. Here we go. And we'll start with the Instagram, a wrestling historian. And he said, JR, do you think Rocky Maivia could have worked as the top babyface if he would have been given the John Cena treatment? You know, no heel turn despite the vocal majority of the audiences instead.
Oh, he might have been able to, but I don't like the chances. What we did, I thought worked. Him coming in, all the glowing publicity and all the stuff, us force feeding him, including myself to the nth degree. But his run in the Nation is what set everything up.
It certainly did. Dave McClay piggybacks right off of that. He said, do you believe The Rock's career would not have skyrocketed the way it did if he did not turn heel and join the Nation?
No, I think it was the best thing for him. I thought it'd give him more of an edge. He got to work on his edge. He became the leader of that group. It was great positioning for Dwayne. So, no, I think that his traveling through town with the Nation was a smart move.
Two more questions this week, JR. The Rosen Coaster, he said, with the negative crowd reaction seemingly growing by the day, did Rock ever voice his concern to creative or management regarding a character change? Or did he just let things take its course the way history played out?
He let things take its course. He knew it takes time. He's creating a new character. He's creating a new a TV persona. It's going to take some time. And that's what he did. We just steered the course. And we weren't in a hurry. We knew what we had. And remember, we also had Austin.
Yeah.
So we were doing pretty good. And a lot of these other guys were starting to come into their own. Triple H, Shamrock was great. McFoley was going to get relevant. Taker was always Taker. He's Clint Eastwood day and night. So we didn't have a gun to our head. So it worked out. I thought it worked out pretty good. Apparently it did.
Yeah, I would say so. Steve Clark Wrestling, he wants some dirt here, JR. So did any of the opposing Survivor Series team members, Triple H, Lawler, Crush, and Goldust, on his debut, have any issues with laying down for the rookie? Come on, tell us the dirt, JR.
Yeah, the dirt that's a stupid question. Number one, that's what they were asked to do. If they had any business acumen at all, they saw what we were trying to do with Rock. And then maybe someday, if you got to his level, you could be an opponent and make some money. So no, there was no animosity. It makes for great dirt. I love the dirt. I live for the dirt and 5 stars.
That's going to wrap up the questions, JR. Next week, we're discussing Wrestle War 92. Either me and you, Conrad and you, one of us and you will be talking Wrestle War 92. It's the 30-year anniversary of the show. It's one of the best war games, man. It's Sting, and he's heading a team of Dustin Rhodes, Barry Windham, Ricky Steamboat. My God, it doesn't get much better than this. You got Nikita Koloff. They're taking on the Dangerous Alliance. You got the Steiners defending the tag titles against Tatsumi Fujinami, and Azuki Brian Pillman defends the light heavyweight title against Tom Zink. Freebirds taking on Terrence Taylor and Greg Valentine for the U.S. tag team titles. Just a whole bunch of bad gimmicks here. And then we'll also cover WCW suing Lex Luger, Jake Roberts rumored to be coming in, Owen Hart makes his debut, plus the Cowboy, Bill Watts, rides in to save the day. Man, that sounds like a great show.
Should be fun. Now there might be some dirt in that one.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Gotta have it.
The dirt.
This other intellectual shit and wisdom and philosophies means nothing. What we all want and we need is more dirt.
We need the dirt. It's got to be.
We're children. We're still children, and we need gossip and dirt.
Check out adfreeshowcares.com where you can get all your awesome Grilling JR BBQ t-shirts, man. Great t-shirts. It's got to be We Love the Dirt over there. If not, it should be. But lots of great t-shirts over there. Check them out. Adfreeshows.com is the place to go. Heard a little rumor tonight of a potential watch-along we may do with some folks. One of them works for AEW that could be coming down the pike. Won't say too much more about that or I'm going to get my hand slapped. But, man, so much excitement over there. JR, we got Top Guy Weekend that's coming up in Chicago. AEW, when they're in town that weekend, we'll be in Chicago. I'm sure we'll see you there.
Probably will. I suspect you probably will.
And we'll make sure that green room's loaded with all kinds of good food, Chick-fil-A and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, please.
Yep. I know you like that from last year, so we'll take care of you there. Speaking of good food, before we get out of here, we got to talk about jrsbbq.com.
I hope so. Baby needs new shoes. It's time. Weather's good in most parts of the country. Grilling season is upon us. It never leaves me, and I know Conrad's the same way. He grills a year round.
Oh yeah.
And so I applaud that. But if you need something for your grill, if you haven't been on our site lately, you might be pleasantly surprised what you find. jrsbbq.com. So check it out. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, mustard. Seasoning's the best in the world. There's really some good stuff there. So, and great gift ideas, gift boxes, some cool stuff. Moscow Mule mugs, they're really cool. So a lot of neat things there. jrsbbq.com. Don't cost nothing to look, and check it out.
JR just used your seasoning twice within the last week on homemade meatloaf and on steak, and it was fantastic. So I am right there with you, man.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So good. Got to check it out, guys. I'm telling you, we can talk about it, but his stuff is about it. It's tasty. It's great. You can try it on all kinds of things, eggs, different stuff like that. Get the mustard, the ketchup. It's all worth it. And so check it out, jrsbbq.com. And again, adfreeshows.com. JR, thank you so much. This was a fun trip down memory lane. 50 years old. Happy birthday to The Rock. Any closing thoughts on this week's show, JR?
It was just been an honor in my lifetime to manage so many great talents, hire so many great talents. As you alluded to earlier, we saw a lot of them that I worked with in Liverpool last weekend, which was great event, well managed, well run. But you only get a chance to encounter these special people. Rarely.
Yeah.
And for Rock, he was the specialist we've ever had. And it's still what he does today is amazing. You know, he's got a good loyal customer with me because I love his tequila. And sound like I need to have a drink right now. But
you should do that before the show.
I'm just real proud that I got to work with him. I'm just really proud that I helped facilitate his journey into WWE. And the pitfalls that can easily arise for a young talent on that level. So I'm blessed to know him. I'm even more blessed to call him a friend. So Fun show. I'm glad we did it.
And you mentioned before you might be working on another little regional project with him. He's doing something with the regional.
Well, it's not going to be regional.
Okay. As far as covering the territories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be on, I guess it's going to be on the Vice Channel or A&E or something. I'm not sure.
Very cool.
I know Mike, we taped it recently, and it seemed like it went real well.
Oh, good.
So, and they got a great crew to edit and all that stuff, Rock's people. So it'll be first class. It'll look great.
Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to that as fans. Can't wait to see it. JR, we love you. We're supporting you. AEW, you can hear him, the voice of wrestling, every Wednesday. We're looking forward to Double or Nothing coming down the pike in Vegas. And, man, they're putting on some great shows, and I've been enjoying watching them, my friend.
Did you notice that my light just came on?
It did, because you look like, if you're watching the video, you were in darkness, and now you look beautifully well lit.
Oh, I'm a handsome man.
What a damn handsome man.
Yeah, magic. Well, I appreciate everybody being with us. We had fun today.
We did.
And thank you, Paul, for your hard work, and all the folks for watching. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next Thursday.
That's right. On behalf of Jim Ross, this is Paul Bromwell. We'll see you again next time right here on Grilling JR.